"Please help us," the 14-year-old pregnant girl whispered. The cowboy found a baby in her arms. The storm had rolled in faster than any rancher expected that spring, a wall of gray swallowing the Texas sunset. Jake Redden, a quiet cowboy with more miles in his boots than words in his day, urged his horse along the muddy trail. He'd been heading home after checking fences when he spotted something unusual near the old service road. Someone huddled beneath a mesquite tree, barely more than a shadow trembling against the wind. At first, he thought it was an abandoned bundle of clothes. But then it moved. Jake slid off his horse, boots sinking into the wet earth. "Hey there," he called gently. "You hurt?" From beneath the thin tarp came a cracked whisper, fragile, desperate. "Please, help us." Jake froze. "Us?" The tarp slipped away to reveal a girl, maybe 14, maybe younger. Soaked to the bone, shivering violently. In her arms, wrapped tight against her chest, was a newborn baby. The tiny thing let out a weak cry, more like a sigh. Jake's breath caught. The girl looked up at him, eyes wide with terror and exhaustion. "He's cold," she whispered. I didn't know where else to go." Right then, something in Jake's chest tightened. It wasn't pity. It was recognition of fear, of loneliness, of someone carrying too much weight for their years. "All right," he said softly. "Let's get y'all warm." He held out his coat, but the girl hesitated, clutching the child even tighter. Not out of distrust, out of instinct. Out of love. "It's okay," he reassured her. "I'm not talking him. Just want to keep him warm." Slowly, reluctantly, she let him wrap the coat around them both. When her shaking eased just a little, Jake guided them toward his horse. "What's your name?" he asked. "Lily," she murmured. "And, this is Lucas." The way she said the baby's name, it was soft but laced with fear, as though she didn't know if she deserved to say it. Jake lifted her gently into the saddle, keeping one hand on the reins and the other steadying her as he walked them back toward his ranch house glowing like a lighthouse through the storm. Inside, the warmth hit them like a blessing. Jake hurried to light the stove while Lily sank onto the old worn couch, baby Lucas pressed to her heartbeat. "You got folks who know you're out here?" he asked quietly. Lily stared into the flames, saying nothing for a long time. Then, as if confessing something too heavy for any 14-year-old to carry, she shook her head. "I ran," she whispered. They didn't want him. They wanted me to give him away. They said I was too young. Said I ruined everything." Jake's jaw clenched, but not out of judgment for her. Out of anger at the world that could make a child feel like she had to disappear just to protect her baby. "You didn't ruin anything," he said. "Sometimes life knocks the wind out of people. Doesn't mean they're broken." Lily blinked at him, as if no adult had ever spoken to her without shame or frustration. "He deserves better," she whispered, touching Lucas's tiny hand. "I'm trying. I just don't know how." Jake felt something shift inside him, something deep, something steady. He'd spent years on the ranch alone after losing his parents young and never finding much reason to start a family of his own. But now, standing in the soft lamplight, watching this fragile girl fight like hell to protect a life she loved, he saw something he didn't expect. Hope. Not for himself, but for them. "Lily," he said, crouching beside her, "you're stronger than you know." She shook her head, tears forming. "I'm scared all the time." "That just means you care," he said. "The good ones always do." When Lucas whimpered, Jake warmed a towel by the stove and handed it gently to her. She pressed it against the baby's cheeks, her hands trembling less now, steadied by the small but vital kindness she'd been missing. Over the next few hours, while the storm raged outside, Jake made soup, found dry clothes, and set up blankets by the fire. Lily watched him, a strange mixture of caution and longing in her eyes. Longing for safety, or maybe simply for someone who didn't walk away. When she finally spoke, her voice was small. "Why are you helping me?" Jake paused. No one had asked him that in years. "Because someone should have helped me once," he said quietly. "And because no one, no matter how young, should face a storm alone." Lily pressed her cheek to Lucas's head and nodded, tears slipping silently down her face. Jake didn't pry. Didn't push. He just sat with her until the wind outside softened and the baby drifted into peaceful sleep. Morning came with clear skies and the smell of wet soil. Birds chattered on the fence posts as if announcing a new start. When Lily woke, she found Jake sitting at the table with a mug of coffee and a stack of papers, local resources, shelters for young mothers, community groups, doctors who could help. I don't want to take him somewhere they'll separate us, she said, clutching Lucas. Jake nodded. Wouldn't dream of it. These folks help keep families together. But, he paused, choosing each word carefully. You don't have to rush. You both can stay here a while. Just till we figure things out. Lily's eyes widened. Really? Really? For the first time since he'd found her under that mesquite tree, Lily smiled, small, tired, but real. It was the kind of smile that blooms only when someone who's been drowning feels ground beneath their feet again. As the sun rose higher, warming the porch and painting the land gold, Jake watched Lily rocking the baby, humming softly. Lucas's tiny fingers curled around hers with absolute trust. And Jake realized something: small acts of kindness weren't small at all. Sometimes they were the hinge on which an entire life could turn. Sometimes they were the spark that lit the path out of darkness. Sometimes, they were everything. Lily would face hard days ahead, Jake knew that. But she wasn't alone anymore. Not that morning. Not ever again. Because compassion, once given, has a way of multiplying. Of mending. Of saving. And somewhere between the storm and the sunrise, 3 lives, Jake's, Lily's, and little Lucas's, began stitching themselves into something new. Something whole. Something like family.